All right. So one of the reasons we wanted to come back and do this is, like I said, other than with Tommy with basketball, who probably should have stayed and played football as well, but we wanted to come together and talk some Valley High School football.
Yes.
And I could tell you, I could share everybody in this room is the man today because of Coach A. And there's a lot of people that are, that are watching
Facts.
on the stream as well that have played. Coach A's, the way he coached, Coach McGregor, everybody else, it was the tough love we got, the way we worked, made us the men we are today. And I'm not saying that lightly either. So I'd like to welcome up Coach A to the stage to talk some Valley football. It's good to see you, Coach. Good to see you, Coach. See you, Coach. All righty. Oh man, so we know we have stories for days up here. But
before we get into that,
Make me look bald with them damn lights.
but before we get into that,
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
what was going on in PR, man? You guys you want to send a message? You embarrassed them on television.
I never expected that either. I broke down NA, and they're good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we broke them down, and of course we schemed. And I'm the quarterback coach, believe it or not. Yep. So I expected us just because of our talent to be able to score. I never thought defensively that we would hold them to like -2 yards. But it was one of those games we finally were all healthy.
Yeah.
And then, man, unless we get hurt, I don't know how you defend.
Good luck.
It's
Good luck.
because up front too, I told Billy when I came in at Thursday's practice, I was standing there and I looked, and we go 6'7", 300, 6'4", 340. We have a little kid at center because our kid got hurt, and then we go 6'4", 300, and 6'3", 300. You go, what do you do with that? And
Lose.
and they're Division I.
Boo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, not quite.
180, 135. Hey, speaking about that. So when I first met Juan, I was in the office and McGregor comes in with this big smile on his face, right? He's like cheese, and I go, what? He goes, hey, we have somebody moving in. We've never had anybody move in, you know what I mean? And I'm like, really? He said, yeah. So Juan's mother comes around the corner and she introduced herself. And I said, I'm Coach Albert. He came around the corner. We were like, oh. I'm like, yeah, okay. Happy, man. And of course, didn't let us down, played great football.
Yeah, I unfortunately remember that too, because I think you got me 3 times in the ninth grade year, right? Juan got me like at least 3 or 4 times on the sacks that year. I'm like, and now he's a teammate. Like, oh, thank God.
Oh yeah.
Thank God.
Hey, I took the Freeport job instead of the Highlands job when I left Butler, and they got mad at me, so they moved me to elementary. So I'm in elementary school. I told Joey this back there, and the secretary calls me over the PA thing. She said, Coach A, we have a player here to visit you, but he's talking so fast, I can't understand any word he said. I said, yeah, tell Harvey just come down here. She said, his name is Harvey. I said, guaranteed.
No kidding. Harvey, that's awesome. So,
Oh man.
I want to start off real quick, Coach, before we get into some game memories or some season memories. I know you were assistant as well, but talk about, as you becoming the head coach at Valley and how you formed your staff and what kind of culture you wanted to bring as the head coach of Valley.
I'll never forget in the interview, and I owe a lot to Joe Nonchek because I tell him he fired me and hired me like in the same day. He came to me and said, hey, Wiz is going to take the Valley job, so I'd like you to come be the defensive coordinator, Fox Chapel. So, okay. Can Billy come? McGregor? He said, yeah, we'll bring Billy. I said, okay. And then half hour later, he came in and said, you're fired. I said, I didn't do anything. And he said, Wiz is coming with me. Do you still have your name in at Valley. I said, yeah, I never took it out. It was like a
Wow.
half hour ago. You know what I mean? And then in an interview, I'll never forget, the two principals and the superintendent, I had said, I'm going to run no huddle. And they were like, you're kidding me. And I go, no. And they go, with our kids, which really pissed me off. I can say that, right?
Oh yeah.
Which really
Absolutely.
pissed me off because I was like, yeah, with our kids. And at that time, we were maybe the only team that ran no huddle.
Yep.
And I'll never forget the playoff game against McGuffey. They were all throwing up. And we were
Oh, yeah.
strong, man. We was from running up and down that damn path.
Oh, we're going to talk about that.
Okay. But so through the interview process, I was very blessed. I got the job, and then Larry Kunselman, of course, Coach
Yeah.
K
Coach
said,
K.
I'd like to stay. And I'm like, well, we'd love to have you. And then, of course, Mac was going to go wherever I went.
Yeah.
And then Mike Latanzio
Yes.
Uh-huh.
was at Katanning, and he was friends of Larry. So I interviewed him, and I'll never forget because there was a rumor that he had used like a racial slur. Do you remember that? And I said, hey, dude, listen, like we're family here. And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he said, yeah, I don't know where that came from, but that's not true. So, of course, he tied in with this. We were blessed to have just fabulous coaches, man.
Absolutely.
100%.
They,
was a
they
dream
were
team.
great. And what was nice about them is they all taught. You know what I mean? Like they were teachers. And we yelled, of course, and demanded, but they were in it for the right reasons. They cared and they
Yes.
taught. And very blessed.
Coach,
100%.
talk about is I've always been completely impressed by this, so much so that I've even implemented. But talk about your vision for the program that you built when you came to Valley. Like, what did you see as far as potential opportunity? Like, what? Talk about that a little bit.
Well, as an assistant, of course, and I found out now, you like have a whole different perspective. But man, there was talent everywhere. And I knew that. The thing that I wanted to bring, when you have that much talent, discipline is the key. And getting them to all buy in, as Tommy knows, not individuals, but to buy in as a family and care about one another. And you do that with discipline. I don't know if you guys remember, we walked in a straight line.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we took
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of
Never forget.
we took a lot of pride in that line. And I'll never forget we were walking down the hall to the cafeteria for the pregame meal, and
Straight line.
we're marking a straight line, and the soccer kids are coming the other way, and one tried to cut like through the line.
Mm,
Oh man,
mm.
like just bitch slapped him. And I was like, hey, fellas. I said, Coach, he tried to go through the line. I'm like, knock his ass out. Going through the line. Are you crazy? And we took a lot of pride in that. The other thing that just cracks me up, I laugh about it to this day. We come out of that tunnel with smoke.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember, you couldn't see a thing in there.
No.
That smoke, I'd be like, not banging heads, and I'm like trying to get up front, like, let me up front. But when we come out that tunnel, and my wife just said this to me yesterday, we talk about how it's changed, and she said, can you imagine today having the Death Valley hanging tree?
Oh
Pop it
my
up.
God. Yeah.
Yeah, can you imagine
There it is.
when you and the teams we played in my career? I've run into 1,000 that we played,
Yep.
and they would say to me, "Hey man, when we played you and we came across that bridge and there was
Yes.
dead bodies hanging,
There was
we
a
were like,
mystique.
oh shit!" And I'll never forget Coach Natoski, because
Yep.
he made
He
them and
does,
hung
yep.
them. He said to me, I don't know how many more games we should win because I'm afraid to go up higher in the tree. But yeah, to do that nowadays, there's no way.
Real quick for you, as your question was, I actually had this picture in my dorm in college, and not only Joe Walton asked about it, Radakovich asked about it, and every teammate was like, "You guys actually hung dead bodies." in your tree? I was like, yeah, it was a mystique. It was, I get Clemson. This was the original high school Death Valley.
Yes.
And I know as players, I can probably speak for it. We took a lot of pride in that.
Oh, yes.
100%, a lot of pride in that.
Get them on the tree.
Exactly. You're getting up on the tree. Gabe,
Put their ass
Gabe.
up on the tree.
Yes.
But I want to get a question, but then Scott got something.
All right. So our senior year, we're just going to be honest, there was somewhat of a talent drop off.
What?
So going into that season, what were you all thinking? What was the conversation like? Because what you presented to us was, and you guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but I believe that we were the best team on the planet. I nobody else.
Certainly the
and-
fastest.
And I know, looking back, I know we weren't, and we didn't have the talent, but you all made us believe that. So what was that
100%.
conversation like?
I was young and I was naive. I never thought we were that good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I told you guys that, but like my first year, I was like every team, I was scared to death. And then we're beating them 50-0. Jay's not even dressed the second half, And my wife used to always tell me, it's funny when you play that team, all of a sudden they're really good. And I'm still like that.
That hasn't changed.
No, you've coached with me. I'm still like that. In fact, Brian texted me this morning. We were playing Armstrong, and no matter how good they were, I would always be, look how big they are, right?
Yeah.
And we're up at Armstrong, and this person's walking towards me, number 34, and I said, God damn, look at the size. It was a cheerleader. They were wearing game jerseys. He says, Coach, that's a cheerleader. I'm like, oh shit, I hope she don't play. She was thick, man. It was a cheerleader.
So
but,
I'm not going to touch that because I get paid from Armstrong to teach there. So I'm going to stop for a minute. But I will say this, two things. So the last 2 years prior to this year, I'm coaching at Armstrong. And a lot of old Katanning guys. And, so I asked them about the hanging tree. And I said, what was that like coming across the bridge when you see that hanging tree? And they said, we'd first go, what the hell is that? And then we get pissed off. And I go, okay, why'd you get pissed? He said, because we knew we'd be the next name hanging up there. And I go,
that's right.
uh-huh.
That's right.
And then someone just asked me the other day, what was it like coaching with Sam? And I got to coach with Sam at Highlands for a long time and then at Kiski for a long time. And I said, it's like taking a high school team to an NFL game because every pregame he'd walk up and go, oh, Jesus, is that team big? I go, Sam, they haven't won a game in 5 years. Like, what? Every week. Someone called me that the other night. We go to, where did I just play? Amani. And they go, we're talking about Deer Lakes next week. And I go, man, they're big. John Boucher looks at me and goes, you coach with Sam way too long because you sound just like him.
I forget who we were playing, and I said, look at the size. And they go, they haven't won a game. But wanted to answer your question, it's been maybe 10 years now. And we were playing for a championship at Highlands. And a reporter from the Post-Gazette called me. And he said, hey, Coach A, I have to ask you, who are your top of everywhere you've been, your top 5 players? And I started thinking, and my wife, who should be the head coach, she said, Sammy, every player was your best player.
Yeah.
I said, you know what, sir? I can't answer that because every one of my kids was my best player. So I can't. And Negley said, remember, was I on there? Bobby played for me, coached for me. I said, you were number 4. No way. Chot said, was he on there? I go, yeah, no, he wasn't on there. But to answer, I've always felt, and that year we started out, we lost a couple, remember?
Oh, yes.
Oh, it didn't start very well.
Well, listen, I'll never.
He waved at
Gary,
you.
he waved at you.
Yes,
He waved at you. Let me tell you a story about that, actually. So what I found out was we beat them 69-0 the year
The
prior.
year before, yeah.
So
Yep.
yeah. So there was a gentleman by the name of Brad Hines that was on that team. Okay, Brad Hines passed away in a car accident that following year. So they dedicated that next season to Brad, and that was the turnaround. And they haven't had a season like that ever since. And the only reason why I know that is because the family is an Avonworth family, and that's where I'm at. And I coached his nephew, whose name is Brad Hines. Yeah, so it's crazy how the connection,
Yeah.
how it all connected. You
Well, I'll
know,
never forget because, for one, we went and scouted Knock.
Mm.
And there was like, Harvey, you were with me. There was like 5 of us. I think Warren may have been there too, but there was like 5 of us. And their big guard turned around and he said, Valley, that's half of your team. And we were like, yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then I was walking down the hall at Highlands. We had just lost to Derry. And one of their coaches said to me, hey, you're doing the right things. Just keep doing what you're doing. And I'd punch him. I'd go, oh, shut up. And then we went undefeated the rest of the
Yes,
way.
we
Yes,
did.
we did.
And Chavez, you must have had like 4 touchdowns against Highlands.
Yes, it did.
Yeah. And I was like, of course, then, every time I saw him, I'd go, hey, yeah, we turned it around. Thanks. Bitch, you ain't going to playoffs.
You know what? Actually, we'll get into some of the game stuff. You bring up Highlands, and my wife would know this, who's sitting in the audience, that like we have friends that have been in the West Allegheny School District, and we sit around and talk stories about, hey, our football games had 5, 6, 7, 8,000 fans. You know, the mistake. We had these guys like, okay, next game you had 28,000. No, we learned, and I actually, thanks to my family, I pulled out a scrapbook and said, look, 8,000 fans. It was at that Highlands game my sophomore year, your first year. Coach.
Oh yeah.
You guys remember
Yes,
that game?
yes.
Felt, I mean, there's a couple games from that WPIAL championship game year that I want to talk about, and anybody else out here, obviously, please weigh in. That year was special. That Highlands game was special.
Mm-hmm.
And what your thoughts on just the atmosphere that was Friday Night Valley that year, and then even through our years and someone afterwards as well. It was you had to be there, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it
you
was
can't
amazing.
explain it. Like when we would come out that tunnel,
Mm.
like I still get chills. Like the excitement when
Yeah.
we would come out and I'd turn around and look, and they were lined the whole way around the fence.
Yes.
And that game, they were up on the highway. Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I'd look around and go like, this is amazing to me. And every home game, and to show you like ego wise, we had just beat somebody and we were going to the semis at Shaler. And I walked in the gym and there was 3 little kids in the auxiliary gym. I felt pretty good about myself that day. And I said, hey, fellas. They go, hi. I said, you guys go to the Valley games? They go, yeah. I go, you know who I am? They go, Fetco. That's a true story. Listen. What? They go, Fetco. I was like,
I mean, really.
so much for the ego. I go,
Wow.
all right, guys.
Anybody else want to weigh in? Like, what was like to play Friday nights with Valley? Here, Bill. All right, thanks.
First off, most of you guys know my kids all went to Burrell and they're still at Burrell. So my kids can't understand. Yeah. Well, as all you guys know, Knock was our rivalry in high school.
Yeah.
Burrell was a afterthought. My wife's going to kill me. But anyways, I try to explain to my kids how packed, from the time I was like in 6th, 7th grade. I mean, when you were in elementary school, you went to those games, right? And I can remember just those games from our sophomore year on. And when coach took over our junior year, like you said, it was just jam packed. Like that's where everybody went on Friday. Like you could rob any house in New Kent and Arnold if you wanted.
Facts.
'Cause everybody was
Right,
there.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one will say one word, And that Highlands game, I ran into some of you guys might know who he is, but I know Coach Elbert knows who he is. His name was Frank Martin. We were just, I was probably out of college just a little bit, but Coach Martin was a legendary coach at at Ken High and then at Burrell and so forth. He won a lot of championships, but he said those games reminded him like in the 50s, in the late 40s, early 50s, when you know how towns just shut down
Yeah.
for Western PA,
Oh, yeah.
where they get.
Yeah.
He said it was just absolutely that in the McGuffey game. He said your first playoff game, there was probably 10 to 12,000.
That was the
people
first
there.
one live. That was the
Yeah.
first one
Yeah.
ever live
Yeah.
with Comcast.
But those kids don't understand. I said we had those. Remember, we had those rally towels. It was almost like a terrible towel. The
Yeah.
whole
Yeah.
student
I
body.
still have it hanging up.
Yeah, the whole student body would go crazy. My son is like, Dad, you're kidding me. It's like there's no way Valley was like that. And I was like, I'm telling you, man,
Just don't know.
you had to be
I
there.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember this because I don't remember what grades you guys would have been in, or maybe even your year. But I took a personal day, and TC went to the Halloween store and bought me the Grim Reaper outfit, and I had tickets. And any student that was dressed in our colors, I would get, and I walked the halls. And I'll never
Ah.
forget because I walked in the classroom, and they're all like, I wore those black Reebok shoes, and Jay White goes, Coach, I know that you because of your feet you have on. And I was like, so much, you know. You can't even explain, like the excitement. It was incredible. I still, when I go by, I still get chills because all the memories and just
Oh my
great
God, yeah.
people. And, you know, nowadays it's just so different. It really is. My thing I always say, first they always ask me like, why are you still coaching?
Mm.
Mhm.
And I said, guys, truthfully, it's now never wins and losses. When I feel I can't reach the kids anymore, communicate or get that bond with them, I'll get out. But for right now, I really enjoy that. That's because we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, that's what it's always been about. Hell, I had 3 concussions in the same week, I think. Fell on vacation, you know. Billy actually came and got me and took me to his house to eat, took me to the funeral home. I talk to him all the time, as I do most of you guys. So, yeah, that's 40 years ago. And that love is still there, man. And I've never, you can't explain to people what that feels like. I won my 100th game at Highlands. This is one of my favorite stories. And I turn around and I see Harvey leaving. And he drove from Philly.
Mm.
And I'm like, hey, where are you going? He said, I seen that face before. I'm getting out of here. But it meant so much. You know, you have somebody driving from Philly. It's just, and the other thing people always ask me, why did you leave?
Oh man, you beat me to it.
And to this day, there's talent here, man. It breaks my heart. You know that. But I should have never left. I don't know how many championships would have won if we'd have stayed there.
Mm.
Hell, the team I left with you
Yes.
guys was
Yes.
incredible. You know,
Yes.
with Craigie and Kevin,
Yeah.
everybody
Kevin,
like
Ben.
that. Yeah.
And then
Uh,
Eric started playing. Pipkin. Eric started playing.
Yeah.
too.
Eric
Newt.
started playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you know, at that time, Butler was the biggest school in Western PA. My wife's dad coached there. They were originally from there. I put my name in just to shut her up. And then I did well in the interviews and they hired me. And I can honestly say it haunts me to this day because I went to a basketball game at Valley and little Verdini
Mm.
came up to me and hugged me and said, man, I can't wait for next year.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, me too. And I already knew I was leaving. And it breaks my heart because I shouldn't have left. I got there, Butler, and the day I got there, I realized, okay, like I should have, it's not Valley, man. You can't explain it. We had something there that you very seldom get to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I shouldn't have left, but I did. And I met, don't get me wrong, I met great people at Butler, great friends forever.
No, that's just all
Everywhere
political.
I've been
I hear
blessed.
you. You should have stayed.
Let's
End at that point.
Yeah, I almost came back on Bill.
What?
So I coached at Valley probably 13, 14. I helped Chad Walsh. And then a couple of years ago, Coach was getting done up at Highlands. It was before he went over to Kiski.
Yeah.
And we were so close to going down. He was going to take the Valley job, and I was going to come down and be offensive coordinator. And, I still tell my wife, I'm hoping, whether it's you or Scotty, somebody does that so I can get out and start coaching again. So, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Coach, we can't thank you enough for everything you did. I know I'm speaking for everybody here, so
Unreal.
we appreciate it, man.
I want to share a story real quick because I only had 1 year with Coach A, and I remember, ironically, we were at my freshman year. We were at a playoff basketball game. It was in February, and I remember my dad and I were walking out, and we saw Coach A, and he said to me, he said, Gabe, how much do you weigh right now? And I said, about 210. He said, you get down to 195, you will start as a defensive tackle. I was like, really? He said, yeah. That next day, I got a membership to the Y and went to work absolutely went to work because I knew, and it was always a dream, like for me, and I'm sure Scott, Mel, like I'm sure, like it was a dream. Like we looked up to, seeing like when you guys went to the WPIALs, me and Scott were in the band. You know what I'm saying? And even the band was lit back then too. You know what I mean? Like even that was lit, right? Yeah, we were. Let me hear that Viking spirit. We was getting it. We had to. Yeah. Grambling Light. Yeah. Maybe Ultra Carb, man. Ultra Carb, man. Yeah. But I just remember like those words, and in that off season, like I vividly remember getting a membership to the Y, and I was like determined to get down to what he said. Because I was like, man, I'm gonna get me. And sure enough, sure as shit, man. I got down to about 190 pounds, and I was starting my sophomore year, man. And it was just like the just the impact that you make, and I don't even think you even realize the impact that you make. I remember, and one last thing before we adjourn, I remember the first time, and it had been so long since I saw you. It was at the coaching clinic a couple years ago, and we just sat there and we shot the shit, had a couple brews and everything. And dude, and I say this from the bottom of my heart, and I think that I speak for everybody. You're like a superhero to us, for real.
I appreciate that.
And we would run through brick walls to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we got knees ain't what it used to be.
Okay.
Back at
Yeah, I want to tell you
100%.
I want to tell you why though. I want to tell you why.
Yeah. We go through them brick walls for you though. 100%.
Eric's gonna beat the wall.
Eric started off in this conversation talking about what you meant to us. And I'm gonna get out of football for a second. All right. Let me get a little serious. But we were young men. First, we were all molded. Young, trying to become who we were going to be, right?
Yeah.
We were molded by some things that were invaluable. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Discipline, all coming together and like loving each other. Like I love every person in this room heavy. Like when Joe was doing his foundation, I was like, what? Yeah, what we doing? You know what I'm saying? It's on. But even when it got personal, you know where I'm going. And I had I'm getting ready to be a granddad in like 2 months. And I had some situations going on, Joe. Some of you know it in the room. When I look at your faces, I'm like, yeah, they know what I'm talking about. But the bottom line was like, I came to you before I went anywhere else. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know what to do here in this life moment. You know, it was big.
Yeah.
And I came to you and got counsel. And I just knew that you loved and cared for my well-being. You know what I mean? And I think that's what we all got. We all got, and I had a dad in the home. I wasn't one of those kids who didn't have a dad in the home. Like I grew up with 2-parent household.
Yeah.
But this was a different conversation I needed to have. I wasn't talking football to my dad. I was talking life. And that's hard for sons sometimes. But I just want to thank you for honestly, like you molded me in many ways. Like you don't know how much we care about you, man.
Facts.
I appreciate it.
And I don't get the opportunity because I ain't been around for a long time, but see and stuff. But anything with you, man, for life, man. We're here. We love you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Thank
And thank you, because I can pass that down. If you met my son, he's built in the same image, in the same discipline, and the same likeness. And I just want to say thank you. That's all.
Thank you. And guys, understand something too. I've been blessed, man. I can't even tell you, but part of coaching, as you know, is having guys that believe and respond to that.
Yep.
So I was so blessed, man. Like I never had a problem. Like I never had a problem. Like you guys were always, anything I said, and you bought in, and we loved each other. And like I said, a lot of people never experience that in any part of their life. And I've been very blessed, man. Hey, I just told this story. Listen, I just told this story. I was in Pine Richland, and you know, I try to bring a lot of that, some of that culture, because they don't
Yeah.
have it. They really
they
don't,
don't.
man. It's
No.
it's like a whole different.
Yeah.
So I bring that, and the kids have really responded to it. But I tell the story all the time that every Thursday I would bring out this, and I would tell this story. And the look on everybody's face when I had Billy's wife now deliver, and she was from Burrow, and she came out on the field and delivered the note. Everybody was going crazy.
That is dope.
Crazy. And I was like, nobody's going to believe this, man. When she walked out, I was crying too. Yeah, that's it.
So you said culture, and this is what, you know, in life, sometimes you get the right opportunity
Yeah.
and the right people. And you talk about a culture, and Joe comes in, and the first thing I said is, you know, Joe, I don't know if you understand, as an 8th grader coming up,
Yeah.
he and Ty Moyes grabbed me because I was stronger than most of the people my age, and they said, you're going to lift with me. And I'm like, I can't lift with you. You crazy? And they got me lifting. So then 9th grade, he goes, hey, you're going to throw track. I don't know nothing about track. Now, you know, because we coached together a long time.
Yes.
I've coached state medalists now. I've coached, my son went
Wow.
D1 and threw discus at track because you invested. You understand? That's the culture. Billy, I'd be walking to choir practice at the church Thursday after practice, and Bill would go, hey, get in the car. I'm going to take you up behind Golden Dawn almost every Thursday. And that's built now on the other end that I got to coach with you, and I've coached everywhere else now. That's the thing that makes it special.
Mhm.
When you have the guys that buy in, but then you have the leadership that you create that pass it on to the next generation. So when we win in 94, and we have no business winning anything because, like Juan said, the talent was
Yeah.
depleted
Yeah.
beyond earth.
Yeah.
You asked what's it like to play for Coach A. I wasn't a legend like a lot of you in the room. I was serviceable, but I wasn't a legend.
You were the
Right?
deer, bro.
Right.
So
The
then-
deer, the reindeer.
Listen, so then we,
That part, right?
Hey,
So yeah, so you
Harv,
say
there you
there
go.
it
Harv.
is.
There we go. Right
so
there.
before that knock game he's talking about, they've got 2 defensive tackles that are 6'4" plus,
Mhm.
280 plus.
Mhm.
Mad Dog Mensch and Donnie Snow.
Yeah.
And they asked
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
how are you going to handle Mad Dog Mensch and Donnie Snow? And Sammy's reply in the paper is, we got that crazy reindeer.
We got that crazy
It's
reindeer.
over,
That's
right?
right.
The
And,
reindeer.
and I had no business playing against those guys. But first play of the game, quick trap. Boop,
Listen.
there goes Harvey.
There
The
goes
next
Harvey.
35 might have been quick trap. I don't think I've ever trapped that much in my life. But it was the belief that you had
Yeah.
in
Yep.
us that might not have been that next level talent that brought you up to that next level talent.
Harvey, I don't know what game it was. And I told this story places I've been. And actually, I would have people say to me, why do you keep talking about Valley? You mean, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
special, that's why. But
One's-
I don't know what game it was. But we ran a quick trap. You scared the safety. Listen, you came through so fast and so clean that the safety was like, because you were already by him. You were already by him. And I was like, God, never forget, like the safety was like, he actually was afraid, like you were already there.
That's because you usually call 30 quick trap.
30.
Juan,
Mhm.
Dudak, Gabe, and you were all in the huddle. You would call 30 quick trap. We come in, Snake come up. Hey, it's 30 trick. I said, Snake. What I would say? Snake, no. 31.
31.
31. I'm a left
31.
hand. I gotta go 31. He would look at me. You know,
Yep.
he's gonna get in trouble if it go wrong. So he would look
31.
at me. I said 31. And he would start, all right. 31 quick trap. And I knew if it's a 4 or 5, I knew how to hit that. That was all.
I didn't have a chance at all conference, so every time he'd go, hey, 31, I go, oh.
Yeah, it's 31. And Snake believed in us to do it because he looked at me like, don't mess this up, you know?
Yeah.
Dope.
Billy, when we played at Shaler, so I have, since that time, Greg Gattuso, of course, afterwards we talked, and I've run into him numerous places. I lost a seat in LaSalle twice at Highlands in the semis, and their head coach said to me, Coach A, you know how far back I go? He said, you beat us at Shaler to go to Three Rivers. I was player on that team.
Wow.
Then I went with Ludum on tour, and you beat us there twice. And God, I hope to God you don't beat me today. And I was like, but that game, I'll never forget because Greg was at Albany and he was recruiting one of my kids, and he comes to the school and we're sitting there bullshitting, and he says to me, who the hell runs quick trap on 3rd and 15? And I start laughing. He goes, seriously, Sammy, to this day, it pisses me off. It's 3rd and 15. You ran quick trap. Yeah, just hit it, man.
Yeah.
He was,
Mikey
he was
hit it.
quick.
Yeah.
Hey,
that was
he was
quick.
quick.
Yeah.
Listen. Yeah, the
Yeah.
other thing I always talk about is practice players, right? And you had some guys, even to this day, like they were your best player, but also your best practice player, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, so you know it's coming. So listen, Bob may be the worst practice player in America. Hey, for real.
There we go.
I go, hey, Bob, God damn, terrible. Like, he'd be the last one going to the field. I'm like, Jesus. And listen, man, because I'll never forget, I'm watching him like, and then we kick off. He goes down, knocks down the whole wedge, gets up, makes the tackle. And I looked at McGregor. I said, I don't give a shit if he ever practiced.
Yeah, Bob.
Unbelievable once the game started, man. Unbelievable. But maybe the worst practice player ever.
I just wrote my little Coach A stories. Just listening to you now, it takes me back to being 16.
Yeah.
We would kneel around. We could just listen to you forever.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And we
Yeah.
dream. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? We dream about success and about being great.
Yes.
That's what you gave to us. And I watched the movies, the Any Given Sunday, and all
Yeah.
these other coaches. In my mind, they don't
They don't
compare
let
to you.
hold the candle.
Now,
Thank you.
Nope. Yep.
And I think it also started with, going back to like my senior year as well. We were, a lot of talent left. But I think there was a lot of athletes still.
Oh,
And I always contribute when I talk to my other buddies now about, our success at high school, whether it was for my sophomore year when we had the talent, it was our conditioning and how you pushed us, right? Go
Or
running in the
top hill.
shade. And there it is.
hey, you
Remember
guys.
that. You and Coach Mac real quick before you get in and said like,
Love
hey,
it.
get your shoes on. We're going to go run in the shade. You duped us
He
with
said,
that.
run in the shade.
You
He told us we was going to run in
Hey,
the
run in the
shade
shade. I mean, he duped us with this. He duped us with go get your tickets to county fair.
before
County fair.
practice.
Who the
Yeah,
hell
before
thought of this
practice
county-
too.
We were duped so many times, but again, we're thankful for it because how many games, especially our senior year, did we pull away or win the games in the fourth quarter because
So,
of what you did for
To
us?
your point, I played D tackle right next to Juan, And it was so funny. It'd be like the second quarter, and we'd be going against 6'4", 240 guys, and they'd come to the line, and they would be absolutely dog tired, and I would crack up, and I'm like, "Hey, Juan, these dudes are absolutely gassed already." I was like, we're about to destroy these dudes. Like, we would sit there and talk about how tired these dudes were because we were sitting here like as we're talking,
ready to go,
laughing at
ready
these
to go.
guys.
But go ahead,
Absolutely.
Coach.
Well, the path, I don't know if you ever heard this story, but if you remember back in the day, I used to run with you up the path, right?
Yeah.
And we'd play that crazy Marine music.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I get to the top, and the first time actually, I walked up just to make sure, but yeah, we get to the top, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but there were police cars, right? There were police cars, and everybody starts back down, and the policeman says to me, "Coach, what is going on?" He said, "I called my wife and said, 'Hey, honey, I don't know if there's a riot going on, but I love you.'" And I said, "No, man, this is our conditioning." He said, "You run up from down there." I was like, "Yeah." He was like, "Wow." Yeah, more than once. Yeah.
Yes.
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 I forgot about that. Yeah.
In that scooter, yeah. Smack you with it. So,
Psychological
and
warfare.
real
It was
quick,
awesome.
and I'm going to bring up Melvin up here as well. Coach, I have a question for you while we're doing this. I've always wanted to ask you this, and I don't know if we actually ever had this conversation going back to my senior year. Where the hell did confusion come from?
So you know what? When
That was an awesome thing. And by the way, it still haunts me, that pass that I dropped against Kensington because Snake hit me, and we had those 45-inch
45-inch
thigh
thigh
pads
patch.
and knocked the ball. I would still be running. But
When I got to Freeport, I ran it at Butler. We beat Woodland Hills with it. Troy Nunes was my quarterback, went and started 3 years at Syracuse.
Mm.
I'm watching them against Pitt, and he comes out in it. And they beat Pitt in a confusion set. I get to Freeport, we play Wash High, and they had Travis Thomas, Moses. They had like 5 Division I kids. And we're up 21-0 at the half, all out of confusion. And their coach is going crazy. They interview him, and he said, he's scared of us. This isn't football. He's going on. So the reporter says to me, because we had to wait for them to go up, he said to me, "What is this?" And I said, "Hey, I'm curious. Those points count, right?" And he started laughing. He said, "Yeah." I go, "Yeah, you should probably tell him that." Well, then listen. So they come out then in the second half. We get the ball.
Yeah.
If you guys remember it, I came out in it, and we went motion. They had one DB that followed them with a tight end on this side's eligible. Touchdown. He goes crazy. So we beat them. They wouldn't shake our hand. The next week we played at East Allegheny in the semis. He brought his whole Washington team. And anything we did, they booed. But the confusion set, one day I was at Highlands, and I had a study hall, and I was sitting there, and we were going to play Katanning, and there is no way we could match up with them up front. But nobody could match our skill, So I said, all right, let's take the linemen out of the game.
Yep.
We'll put them all over there, and we'll go backyard football. We'll just play skill on skill. And we put them all over there, and they followed them over. And then after that, it became,
I don't know the look on the face of a 170-pound kid playing center. We came in,
Yes.
I just picked it up and threw it back to
Right,
Snake. But
right.
I'll never forget just on the field how confused Katanning was when we were doing that. And I can't remember how many more times we ran it. I know that year, but I've always was curious of where that came from because of who's off the ball, who's on the ball, and all that stuff. It was
funny,
genius.
Riz, because I spoke at the Coach of the Year clinic one year, and the one coach in the crowd raised his hand, and I said, "Yeah, Coach." He said, 45 minutes we practice against that crazy ass set. He said, "And you never ran it against it."
Never ran it.
He said, "You never came out in 45 minutes we wasted." And I was like, yeah, but that's where it came from.
Okay.
That year we weren't big up front.
No.
No. but we had skills, so we went to that and took the
It's
lineman
chess,
out of the
not
game.
checkers.
It
Right?
was
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, listen,
Yeah.
when Nunes came out in it, he called me then. He said, "Coach, were you watching the game?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You see the confusion?" And we beat his freshman year. We beat Penn Hills the first game of the year, and they had Mike White, Demonte Gibson, Graham.
Yeah.
They had them all, and he scored out of that. And after the game, he told me, he said, and during basketball day, I come up to him and said, "You guys come out in that crazy ass set next year. We're ready." And he said, I just started laughing because when I first put it on the board, because you know Coach Kunzelman's old school, man.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
when I got to practice that day, I drew it up on the board, and I'm looking, and he's like, I go, "What?" He said, "You can't run that." And I said, "Coach, do me a favor, defend it." So he's up there drawing on the board, and Coach Elliott was probably like with a green shirt, purple pants, and blue socks, holding a rope. And he turned around and looked at me, and I said, "Yeah, and I'm going to bring him in motion." And he was like, "You know what? That's hard to defend." I said, "And if you've never seen it,
It's
it's
really
really
hard.
hard to defend." Yeah, so that's where that came from.
Awesome. Great story.
Unreal.
I got a real quick story real quick. I remember
Yeah.
I was in 7th grade, right? So my brother missed curfew, Jason.
Oh.
I know what you're going
Yo,
to say.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my
So I hear a knock at the door. Coach Mack and Coach A knocked on the door.
We showed up at his
Pounded
house.
on the door.
Pounded.
It wasn't a knock.
Pounded.
That they was the police.
Yeah. My dad said, "Come on in." He's in there. I'll never forget it.
The look on your brother's
Yo,
face.
he was so
Me and Mac,
scared. He was scared.
me and Mac walk in, man,
never
and
forget
he
it.
was like,
I'll never forget that. Yo, it was crazy.
and you know, nobody ever believes that I called every player.
Yeah.
You know, and I'll never forget because
I
you know
remember
everybody
that.
tells on everybody, right? Kenny says to me, "Coach, you know Jay's going back out." I said, I would hope so. I said, "But I know he answered the phone." He said he did. I said, "That's all I care about. That's it."
Absolutely. You had
You
to be
had to be
home.
home.
Yes.
You
Yes.
had to be home, then you had to get up to go answer the kitchen phone with the long cord. Yeah.
Ooh.
So
That's
if
what I
you were in
say.
your room, you had to get out. Exactly.
No.
No,
Right.
it wasn't like, yeah, you had to get on.
Because we had that when I first started. They'd say, "He's in bed." I said, "Get him up."
Get him up.
But we
I
laughed.
need to hear the voice.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you couldn't lie back then.
No. But you know what? That's part of that discipline.
Yeah.
It was
Sure
part of the
was.
discipline, the
Accountability.
accountability, right, Tommy? It was part,
Yes.
the
And that's what I
conditioning.
said. Like, you know, yeah, I wasn't naive enough to think that Jay probably went out. But he cared enough about us that he answered the phone. And that's what it was about. Do you guys remember the time the stripper showed up at practice for Jay's birthday?
What?
You guys,
That's before
I don't
my
know if I recall
time.
that. Not my sophomore.
Listen,
Yeah, no. I
listen,
don't-
Billy,
no.
do you remember this?
What?
I'm standing in the field, and here comes this policeman down, this blonde-haired policeman, and another policeman, and they have like a radio, you know.
Yeah.
And I go like, "What? I'm gonna kill somebody if they did something." So I walk over. I said, "May I help you?" She said, "Do you have a Jonathan White on the team?" I go,
Oh.
and I
Johnny
turn
White.
around and I go, "Jay," and he's walking towards me going, "I didn't do anything. I swear I didn't do it." I said, "Get over here." He said, "I didn't. I promise. I promise." This dude turns on the radio and she starts doing like this striptease thing because listen, and she's singing happy birthday. And I'm like, but listen, if we'd have had cell phones, Larry,
Oh,
Coach
my
Kunzelman's
I
face,
do remember that.
Coach Kunzelman's face, like he was like, and after she's done, she hugs Jay and walks away. And he turns to me, he says, "We have men on this team.
Oh my gosh.
We have men on this team." And I was like,
Yeah.
nobody will believe me. Like it was out of a movie. Like I'm like,
Wow.
so I never missed a basketball game because you guys played, but I never missed a basketball game. And I'll never forget because the one game, and I want to say I could be Wilkinsburg, but I'm sitting in the crowd, and Jody had something we had to do. And Jay keeps like on the floor, keeps looking at me, And I'm like, what's he? And then he sat down and he's staring at me, and I'm like, it just felt weird. So we left at halftime, right before the half. I get home and Jimmy Jones calls me. He said, as soon as you left the gym, Jay took their big man through the doors, over the popcorn machine. And I'm like, that's why he was waiting for me to leave. So then I see him and I go, all right. He says, yeah, I seen you. I ain't doing that shit with him here. And Jay showed up once for me when I was at Freeport. Carlos Kemp, who played for me at Highlands,
Yeah.
boys, he moved them to Freeport to play for me. And the younger one quit. And now he comes back and wants me back on the team. He quit for like 20 minutes, but he comes back. And I said, I don't know if I'm going to take you back. He said, Coach, I'll do whatever you say. I promise. I go, so he apologized to the whole team, right? And it was like 2 days later. He was just being like a pain at practice. I look, and here comes Jay White up over the hill. He walks down. Carles must have told him. And he comes out onto the field, and he grabs Jordan by the face mask, and he brings him over to the sideline. From that day on, nothing, man.
No.
And you know what else? I don't know if Harvey remembers this, but Harvey came to visit me when I was at Freeport, and the tailback when I took over was Johnny Garvin, and he was bitching about the coach I took over for, which was Kazanowicz. And he said, we were at the goal line, and he called option. That's a stupid play to call. I don't know if you remember this, Harvey, but you said to him, did you get the ball? He said, yeah. And you said, did you score? No. He said, that's your fault.
Absolutely.
And I was like,
Absolutely.
absolutely. I thank you. I didn't have to say another word. He was like, that's your fault. Yeah. I owe you guys just as much. Trust me. I was a young coach, and I was so naive. I was scared every game. And like I said, Burrow turned on the lights. We knocked them out. It was like 50-0 at the half.
With 3 touchdowns called back.
Yeah.
I mean, it should have been 70,
Hey,
80 nothing.
do you remember, was it your senior year, maybe Snake got the concussion on the sideline? Do you remember this?
Yes.
And I said,
Yes.
Snake, you okay? He was like, I had a bicycle when I was young. And I was like, trainer. Hey, and that's the game. And that's the game Harvey hit the holder, remember? That was Burrow. He hit the Burrow, and he started towards.
Yeah, we were done. There was some shenanigans on that.
He said he's going to the locker room and change before I got there, remember?
Man.
Yeah. There was emotions in that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody wrote us off those couple games, and then we ran 8 straight.
That's
And
nice.
should have won the Montour game. We fumbled into the end zone. We threw a pick in the end zone
I had
twice.
And I had,
Yeah.
I remember I had that guy smoked on 27 cut pass twice, and I just saw a Snake getting hit as he was ready to throw it.
Well,
I'm like,
Bobby fumbled into the end zone twice, and then we missed.
Yeah, Bobby, yeah.
And
It
Newt, wasn't it Newt that dropped the ball in the back of the
Kevin.
end zone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably Craig. It was
Yeah,
probably
because I have a
Craig.
feeling if we won that game, I think we might have had another path to
Yep.
Three Rivers. Because
Yeah.
I think who we were playing the following week. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and they were good.
They were probably plus 50 across the
Yeah.
Yeah.
well, if I remember, they had that large
They had
running back, and then he had a good first drive. After that, he did nothing.
Well, then the
Yeah.
Gooba kid went to Georgia Tech, the big tight end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, there's so much we can get into, and Coach, I hope we can do more of these with you
100%.
as well too. And please, you're welcome to stay on stage here as well too. But I just want to wrap this up with you on this, and we'll talk with you as well. But like, we're just the gratitude we have for you for the discipline you put in us, the success we had on the field. I think it's translated to us as fathers. It's translated to us as just being successful in our careers. And I think it's because we learn how to work together as a team. That camaraderie we have. I mean, Billy, you and I had how many training sessions after high school down there, right? All through college. I mean, just because we knew we worked well together, and it was just, we helped each other get better through college, is because of the discipline, the teamwork that you had helped build for us. And we are very, very thankful for that.
Yes.
And we just said, we hope this is a small snippet of our gratitude for you, Coach.
Well, I appreciate
100%.
you guys. I'm very honored. You guys even invited me. And as you know, double V's forever, man. I love you
Absolutely.
guys with all my heart.
Absolutely. Well, Coach,